Hello everyone, and thank you so much for tuning in or catching up later with the Behavior Hour. So this is my first Behavior Hour where I try and stick to an hour because you guys know I've got so much stuff I want to share with you that very often it goes way over that. So the clock is ticking. Whoever logs on and asks me their questions is going to get their questions answered. And I, of course, have some questions that some of you have asked me already, which I will be going through. So do say hello and post that you and your dog are watching, and we shall be looking at some of your behaviour questions from an energetic, spiritual point of view, from an energy flow point of view, from a life force flow point of view. So I'm Caroline, for those of you who haven't met me or don't know me, and I help people to transform their dog's behaviours, but also at the same time this means we start to understand our own spiritual energy as well, our own emotional drivers, and it enables us to get in the flow and create lots of happiness and abundance. So I call my full system of behaviour canine flow. There's lots of different parts to it, but the full system is called, a full training method, if you like, is called canine flow, because it's all about getting back in the flow. And life force flow is the one thing that we all love in natural holistic dog care and mostly completely ignore in dog behaviour. So life force flow is what makes homeopathy work. It's what makes herbal medicine work. It's what makes acupuncture work. They just call it chi, you know. But life force flow is so key to all of life and all of nature. And it is also very key in terms of the choices that your dog makes in their behaviours and their actions. It's an electromagnetic energy, really, or it's measurable as an electromagnetic energy. And for me, it's the missing link. It's the piece of the puzzle that we are not honouring in our dogs. We're very quick to honour it in terms of natural remedies, and it's amazing that we do, because who needs to use the drug approach, quite frankly? You know, this is not the way forward for our dogs. So for me, it's about honouring that in dog behaviour as well. So if we think of the dog as a mind, body and soul, or spirit, whatever you want to call it, we have lots of compassionate, positive dog training methods that cope and deal and show us how to influence our dog, for want of a better word, in terms of their mind. Okay, so we have that bit of the triangle sorted, and then we also have a lot of people that are working with dogs in terms of their physical. So, you know, it might be that they are a massage practitioner, for instance. It might be that they are a T-touch practitioner and they are seeing the dog from the physical point of view in terms of their behaviour as well. So that's wonderful. So we've kind of got people that are now looking at the physical side. We've definitely got the mental side sorted, but this spiritual side, this soul side, this life force flow of your dog is, for me, we are ignoring this in dog behaviour. And I find when you use this bit, you don't need the other bits as much, but it links up the triangle. You know, this is the whole of your dog, is this mind, body, soul or spirit. And we need to be using this in dog behaviour. I think what's of course happened is we haven't known how. We haven't really understood how we could integrate it into honouring our dog's behaviour. So I am, as well, for those of you who may not know, in North Cyprus, which is a Turkish country. It's not the same as Greek EU Cyprus. It's much more chilled out. I love it here. I've been here 4 years now. But I am going back to England, which I see myself doing for kind of about 5-6 years in 2020. And I am going to be opening a retreat centre for people and their dogs, because I already run retreats. I have done for over 10 years for people and the dogs, and I want to offer much more of those and make it, you know, a bit of a centre for people to come to, chill out, you know, be part of, that kind of thing. But that's a 2020 thing. I'm very much in the moment now doing this with you. So who's here? Who wants to say hello? Angie, don't know if you're still watching. Great to see you. Who said hello? Who's sent me away? Oh, Charlotte. Charlotte's waving. There's a wave back for you. So do tell me if you're here and what your dog's name is if you want them to get a shout out as well. I don't think that any of the people that have asked me questions have hopped on yet. So if any of you watching have a question about canine behaviour and how it might be linked in with their soul, their spirit, their life force flow, the energy part of the dog and you, because they're incredibly linked, and this is why it also supports you and assists you to create the abundant life you've been looking to create and create the life you want, you know, because you're so linked in with your dog. So if you have any questions, Michelle says hi, Jenny says hi, and Michelle says Bailey. Oh, lovely, Bailey. What sort of a dog is that? I like that name. Actually used to live with a dog called Bailey. Lovely Rottweiler. Okay, so I want to say we will start with Jackie's question. Because it's Jackie's birthday today as well. She probably thinks I don't know that, but so happy birthday, Jackie. And I'm going to answer your question. For those of you who have hopped on and have never listened to this kind of thing before, I have given Jackie answers on this kind of thing before. So it may, I hope you don't think I'm going to be just glossing over it. But, and also I have a question from Tracy, who is one of my Canine Flow students. She's done one retreat, she's done the online course, she's done all her case studies. She just needs to do her final retreat and show me what a great teacher she is. And she's going to be sharing this, you know, with other dog owners so that they can start honouring that part of their dog as well. So I'm going to answer those two questions first. So Jackie has asked a question about her dog, which I believe is a smaller dog. And she's asking, when people come to the door, some people, the dog is greeting in a certain way, and other people, the dog is greeting in a different way. So there's some people that the dog is more enthusiastic to greet. The dog wants to jump up, you know, just generally wants to greet the dog, the person, should I say. So Jackie has asked, and she has asked me this before, what could she do? Now, obviously, this is what we immediately think of, and this is partly where Canine Flow works differently. We don't work during the behaviour because we work on the dog, not the behaviour, because if you change the dog, the behaviour generally sorts itself. So if you can deal with the dog's life force energy and support their life force energy, you find that things start to change. So there's lots of positive dog training methods that you can do in the moment. They're doing methods that you do in the moment, okay? But we've had them for a very long time, and dogs are still obviously doing the behaviours that, or displaying the behaviours that we're asking questions about. So if you want to make changes to your dog's behaviour in this situation, you do need to be working with your dog outside of the behaviour, outside of the situation. However, bearing in mind I'm a spiritual dog trainer as well, for me, okay, I have visitors throughout the day. Now, I just had somebody come and fix the pool pump. Now, I wasn't really that bothered about seeing him. Quite cool, but you know, I knew he was coming at some point, just happened to be here. Hi mate, you know. Now I tell you what, if my Swedish friend Angeline walked up, we would be completely different. We'd be excited, and if we hadn't seen each other for a couple of weeks, I'm going to reveal something now, we would do like funny little unicorn dances. Okay, I am excited to see her, and my life force flow comes out of me when I see her. Okay, and I don't consider that something that I need to reduce in myself. So it's a good thing, you know, and to say, I don't know that I'm particularly even in control of it. It's like such a cool thing. So we have to understand that when our dogs feel something, they need to express this out. And yes, you can find some wonderful positive dog training methods that are compassionate and kind that you could do in that moment. And maybe this is something that you want to go off and do. However, what I find happens is when you limit a dog from expressing its life force flow, it accumulates in the dog. So you have to find another avenue then for that dog to express their flow. Otherwise, it's going to, well, it could do two things really. It could come out as an ailment. It could also show us other behaviours, which are actually more destructive or more dangerous. So I would allow the dog, to make friends with these people. And we have to deal spiritually with how we feel about other people judging us as well. Because a dog is a loving, heart-based, giving energy being. And this is one of the reasons we like them. So for us to then say, oh, we don't want you to give energy in that situation, isn't honouring the fact that they are a magnetic, heart-based, life force giving animal. So we can't just say, oh, well, you can be loving and nice and give us your heart energy in one situation, but we don't want you to do it in other situations. You know, so yes, there are control methods. Yes, there are positive dog training methods you can use to limit these behaviors. But what you're doing is you're limiting the heart energy. So what really I would say is going on here, especially I have spoke to Jackie before, as I said, and I know her situation at home. I would be working on what this brings up for you in terms of judgments from other people. Feeling judged, feeling vulnerable because your dog is doing something and they're other people or other opinions might not be the same as yours. So, you know, I hope this is making sense. Anyway, you've got to remember I'm the spiritual dog trainer. If you want somebody to come and say, yep, that dog isn't ever going to do that on somebody when they come in the house, then I'm sure there's going to be people that can help you do that. To me, that's not where we want to be going with dogs, you know. If you can get a blend of both, as I said, you can get somebody to help you to have a command that the dog will listen to and you can interject in the situation, for instance, then you need to find another avenue for the dog to be expressing their energy and flow. Now, if a dog, for instance, I don't think this dog is doing this way, but for instance, if you've got a dog and you're listening to this, you're watching this, and your dog just does this every single time and it's too much, and you know, your friend comes around and they get knocked over because great big paw prints up here or something, you know, let's go to the extreme because the mind certainly wants to do it most of the time. So if you have got a dog like that, this is a dog that has so much heart energy. This is a dog that is really magnetically giving, you know, really has so much to show the world. And you can support that dog to release that flow in another way. So I would be doing things like more canine enrichment with that dog, because that is allowing the dog to express its emotional flow. It's not tiring the dog out. I've got plenty of other videos that explain that, why. It's getting the dog to be more content and express their flow, their heart-based energy flow, and use that up, if you like, at the time, or the excess of it. So you want to be doing things like that with your dog. And there could be all manner of reasons why the dog is accumulating so much flow. It could be the nutrition side of things. It could be walking side of things. It could be lack of actually being around you or getting to your heart energy. So there's so many different reasons why a dog would accumulate flow in the first place. But if you have got a dog that's doing that kind of behavior, then you know, it is about understanding them from a heart-based life force flow point of view. So I've got some more. Michelle says her dog is a Rottie Shepherd. That's interesting. Bailey was a Rottie. And Michelle says Recorn jumping up. Yep. Charlotte, you're on. Oh, hi, Rob. Hope you're still listening. Oh, and Kelly, I've got your question logged. In fact, I'm thinking of doing an aggression special because I had a few people ask about that. So Charlotte is here and asking a question, and Michelle is asking a question about Recorn jumping up. Yeah. So, well, a little bit of what I was just saying goes with the jumping up. You know, I find jumping up, from the spiritual point of view, you need to be visualizing them with their feet on the ground, and you need to be working with their body so that you allow them to ground down out of their feet a lot more than what they're doing already. So that, I mean, to me, I know loads of people that have solved this issue by really getting their shoulders, their back, and like really getting them to ground down. And sometimes the feet are tight, so they're not really grounding down. So this can be important as well to do, and visualizing them with their paws on the ground. It's unbelievable how powerful visualization is, you know, but we know in the spiritual world, we use it all the time for attracting and law of attraction things we want. It's so powerful. Visualize it. Meditate with your dog and visualize it. However, also be pleased that you have a dog. Oh, have a bug going around me. You have a dog that has life force, heart-based flow. It's probably a very loving dog, you know. So recall, obviously completely different. Again, take a little bit of the frustration and stress about recall out, because we have to understand that the dog is a magnetic being. And this is, you know, we haven't for so long understood dogs from this energy-based point of view. And so we have this idea that they should and shouldn't do things, and that they should be under control at all times. But unfortunately, a dog isn't that kind of animal. You know, we have chosen to bring them into our lives, and then we expect them to act in certain ways. And yes, you can get positive dog training methods that use the mind-based side of things to support you with recall. If you want to do that, then do that. But there'll be other things around going on that are linked in with this recall that could very easily get missed if you don't utilize the energetic life force flow part as well. So if you can get your dog to do what they call with recall, this is the ragger game. Okay, so in some dog training methods in the past, the ragger game has not been advised, or for whatever reason they've decided it isn't a good idea. However, it does actually get you and your dog more heart to heart connected, and the idea is to let the dog win, not you, in the majority of the times. Recall is all about getting your dog heart to heart connected with you. It's not about making them hear you more. It's about making you where the dog wants to come back to as the magnetic source that the dog wants to be attracted to, and not the prey or whatever it happens to have caught their attention, because that then becomes the heart source. So really it's all about opening up your heart more, getting that energy flow between you more. A lot of what dogs are here to show humanity is about how we need to be in the flow more, you know. So by utilizing the canine flow techniques, you actually end up more abundant, more in the flow, happier, more heart-based yourself, through working with your dog in this way. So definitely recall is going to be about that. So I hope that helps a bit. Obviously, you've got to remember I'm here. I'm not on a retreat teaching you this stuff, so I can only do so much over online, but hopefully that's given you some ideas to think about. So let's read what Charlotte has said about Skippy. Skippy is a boxer. He's very lovely, grown up since getting him as a rescue on Valentine's Day. That's lovely. Okay, anxiety a bit. Okay. Thundershirt's amazing, definitely in that physical part of the triangle, but so key, because we did ignore it for so long. We're stuck in that mental side of the triangle for so flipping long. When people started working with the physical bit and it made so many changes, fantastic. So Thundershirt's definitely all about proprioception, wonderful. Okay, so anxiety's come back slightly. Now, what I would say, it's probably worth talking properly about it, Charlotte, if you can. But as a sort of a general rule, what I would say is when you see anxiety coming up in your dog, it will be because your dog is feeling it in you. What we've got to remember is the majority of our emotions are all subconscious. So you might feel like, oh yeah, we're in a really good place at the moment, but actually that could be exactly, if you're mentally okay, that this is the time for things to be released. So you're sort of relaxing, letting go, and things are trying to move out of your aura, these vibrations, and obviously Skippy will pick up on those, and he's giving you this feedback through his actions that something is being released. So better out than in. Don't try and stop it, but obviously do try to aim for more relaxation, because we don't realize how much subconscious resistance we can actually be in to releasing our emotions or our own anxieties and the things that are going on for us. So really do try to do this. And and it may not even be that you have to experience it to release it, and there's so many different things as well that are going on. It could be that simply there's some more EMFs that are around you that haven't been around for a while, and these will obviously influence the dog. With the biggest heart per body mass of any creature, it's going to feel any electromagnetic energies more succinctly than you do. So it could even be something like that. I would say it's going to be more likely linked in with you, but yeah, it's just a case of working on yourself and the dog at the same time, rather than, can you get thunder shirts for people? You never know. Yoga, of course. Yoga is the proprioceptive way of working on yourself. So yoga isn't just about stretching muscles and making yourself feel calmer so that you enjoy life. It's a proprioception for humans, basically. So I hope that helps a little bit and gives you some ideas. Could it be as past? And yeah, I mean, essentially your subconscious is your past. I mean, there is no time really. Everything is just the way it is. It's in the moment. So it doesn't matter where it came from. If it's in the now, you can work with it. And it's better to be almost made aware of and allowed to leave than it is to restrict and try and stop this, because otherwise it stays in your body, and we don't want that. So Tracy's here. Michelle says that's brill, thank you. Sharon's here. Hello, Sharon. Charlotte says, I've been doing some clearing, considering it is that time towards 5D. Do you mean multi-dimensional 5D? I'm wondering. That's cool. That's cool. Next stage of expansion then for you. Okay, Tracy. I want to talk to Tracy about her dogs, because one dog is, oh, this is such a classic situation, is it? One dog is kind of being described as guarding or protecting certain things in certain areas in the house from the other dog. It just happens so much, where one dog has the toy and the other one might, want it. And in this case, the dog isn't actually particularly wanting it, but you see this all the time, this energy exchange, and that's what it is. It's an energy exchange that's going on between the dogs, because something has to be the dog's magnetic focus, their heart focus. This is how they function. They're life force flow animals, and they're constantly aware of where is the heart, where is the strongest magnetic element of a situation. And some of you may have watched the video that was on Canine Flow page when I worked with Tony, who's also another practitioner about to be in the Red Hill area, and she runs a dog daycare, and the dogs follow her around because she's the strongest heart in that building, in that place. And it's like, it's so cool to see, because it's exactly what TV make out Cesar Millan can do. And you see these dogs all following Tony, but it's got nothing to do with how good she is at training them. They're following the strongest heart around, and this is what dogs do. And we haven't honoured this in them for so long. They're proper heart-based animals. We want the romantic side of it, where we see them as a loving being and a heart-based animal, but we don't honour the behaviour side of it in the same way. And it's amazing when you do, the changes that you see in you as well. Anyway, so in terms of this situation, now, as I mentioned earlier on, Tracy is very close to being a canine flow practitioner. So it'll probably have hidden meanings for you, Tracy, when you hear me talking. So in this situation, the dog is also described as guarding his safe area that he goes to sit in, like whether that's his special chair or just an area that he's settled down in. Now, the thing is, the first thing I'd be looking at in this dog is what's going on in the body. So we need to be looking at the physical side of things, okay? Because a lot of dogs that have proprioception feedback in terms of stickiness or stuckiness or just joint stuff inside, it might even be just energy that's stuck in there, you know? When they finally settle, they don't like movement around them. I'm sure this is pretty common. Other people have seen this as well, because they don't have the feedback that they could just get away if they wanted to, that it's easy for them to move away if they want to. So what I would say, Tracy, is revisit the section on proprioception in the online course as well, and see this behavior and what's happening with your dogs and what's happening with Buster from this point of view. Because the one thing he's not doing, which I'm amazed you're going anywhere near, is doing it personally against Max. And I think there's an element there in terms of your spiritual lesson within this, is where are you taking things personally? Because what you're seeing is Max taking it personally, and he has somehow been wronged by Buster. So that's the spiritual lesson for you within this, is where am I taking things to personally? Now, people who know canine flow as deeply as Tracy, you know that if you shift that belief, the behaviors will probably change. And you might not need to do any of the proprioception stuff because you've dealt with that bit of the triangle. You've dealt with the life force flow in yourself as well. So let's do that. Let's look at it from that point of view as well. Now, also understanding what I'm saying about the dog needing proprioception, it's worth considering this as well. Also, the reason why he's not doing it outside and he's doing it inside is because there's more space outside. As soon as you limit space, any proprioceptive feedback becomes of better value, it becomes more heightened, you know, so they can't get away. They automatically know even they can't get away. It's not a knowing mentally, it's just something that's feedback in their body, as you understand with proprioception, I'm sure. So yeah, that's why it's not happening when he's outside, it's happening when he's inside. So it's not really that he's fear of losing the thing, it's just that he has the heart. You know, when it's the toy, he has the heart energy. And it's not that he doesn't want to lose it, but that's his heart energy. And because as you said, you can take it away from him. It's not like he's biting, but this is just what dogs do. This is what we've misunderstood for so long and ended up training them out of, utilizing their heart energy and grounding on things with their heart energy. So I hope that makes some difference. Let's see what people are. Yeah, here we are. Yeah, so he's happy to voluntarily give up his resources. Yeah, through playing the raggy game, because you change the energy polarity of where the heart magnetic flow is, you see, when you do that. Yeah, so it totally makes sense. But I would not be looking at it as so much of an issue as you are, and take note of the things that I've suggested now in terms of your lessons, in terms of what's going on for him physically as well. So we are, what are we on? We're on about halfway through. Blimey, okay. So I'm rushing through these, I don't know why. So there must be some more questions. Who's still on that was here at the beginning? Let me know if you're still here. Okay, TV reactivity was mentioned, and the thing is, yeah, now TVs are way better now. I'm sure this is going to be more of an issue because the dog is better able to see, you know. And at the end of the day, they are dogs, they are beings that see things and magnetically want to do something about it. And of course with the TV, they're never going to get to ground on it, are they? So I'm wondering whether you want to again use something like the Raga polarity exchange. One of the ladies that asked about this is again Ken and Flo student, not far away from qualifying. So yeah, you might want to be using it. The idea is if you really want to stop this, okay, you could get a mind-based positive dog trainer, but you could also try to get them, when they feel this desire, this magnetic pull, to come back to you, a little bit like what I was saying with the recall, so that they have the feeling, but then they look to ground it rather than just staring at the screen, you know, and presumably barking, and using that as an energy frequency way to ground their energies, their life force flow. Their life force flow comes out as a sound, which is another energy frequency, as we know. So that could be something that you get them to do. For instance, it's probably as well really worth working on the dog outside of the behavior, but also when is it happening, who's around you at the time, what's going on for you that it matters. That's worth looking at as well. I'm trying to think of all the things because also I know the dog as well, and I know that she's done this right from the beginning, really, I'm pretty sure. But she is a sight hound, so I mean, if your dog's doing it and they're not a sight hound, there's less, you can't use that, can you? But obviously if they're sight hounds, this is kind of what they're supposed to do, you know. I think the thing is, for me, for so long we had these training methods that just limited, stopped, controlled, made us all feel like completely judged if our dog just didn't do exactly what we asked them to do at any given time. We had these for so long that now we're beginning to bring dogs into our life in a different way. It's like we don't quite know how to fit it all in and not feel judged. You know, we don't necessarily want to be doing the limiting ways anymore, but we're still dealing with our stuff, you know, and really the previous training methods played on those ways. And we've progressed now, humanity's progressed now, and you can change behaviors by changing stuff that's going on with you, you know. And this is why I want to do the aggression questions as a kind of like a special, and I'll bring on a couple of practitioners as well who will discuss their journey or what happened with their dog, because people on the canine flow system training system that have become practitioners, they have transformed, you know, dogs that do this. One of them, multiple dogs actually. So it can be done. It's just a case of maybe we need a bit more time with that issue. But I wrote a blog called Why Does Your Dog Bite? I want to go back on my website and put part 1 because I've got more stuff I want to say about it. So you can head to my website and have a look for this. Why Does My Dog Bite blog. Oh, well, I hope it's there. Having hosting problems with my website at the moment, and when I went to look, it wasn't there. If it isn't, I've still got it as an article, so I will add it again ASAP. So any more questions? Oh, Michelle's asking another question. She's very keen today. Do you have any tips on pulling on the lead? Yeah, I mean, definitely. I mean, first of all, we need to, if you haven't looked at the physical side, look at the physical side, okay? So this is ignoring, again, positive mind-based dog training. Look at the physical side of the dog. Is the dog unbalanced in any way? Could you change the harnesses or the lead arrangements that you're using? Some dogs get very front-ended when they've been pulling, even on a harness, for so long, and really working on their back end to kind of get their center point of gravity back again can be all you need to do with pulling on the lead, but it does depend on the dog. So definitely look at their physical side of things if you haven't already done that. Are they grounding through their paws? Are they grounding through their back legs as well? You know, they can become physically habitual is the best word probably, as well. And when those neuro pathways and that way of being, that shape of them becomes stronger, it's harder for them to shift back again. So we just have to give them a bit of a helping hand, proprioceptively, by linking up the front and back end again for them. Now, it might not be that at all. You might already be doing that. So I would be, if you're going to be looking at the life force flow point of view, again, it's about finding what's going on for your dog life force flow wise. Okay, when are they pulling? It could be that they only pull at certain things, or if they're just like a train going down the road, then you need to be looking at your heart energy with that dog as well. I mean, it's a no-brainer to get some kind of harness type thing that you feel better walking them with, you feel safer walking them with. The double-ended lead is also really, really good. There's a wonderful thing that they use in T-Touch, actually, called the balance leash, and that goes right over the heart as well. So it's kind of utilizing both at the same time, so that you learn how to support them and get their center point of gravity back. So yeah, what's going on for the dog on a magnetic flow level? The other thing to really, really understand and accept on a spiritual level is this is normal. You know, it is very normal for our dogs to want to go towards something. And if they're excited because they're going outside for a walk with you and the dog are synced up with heart energy. Back in the day, dogs were around us when we were hunting, and they were hunting alongside us, and on a collective consciousness level, this is still linked in. So it's not just the fact the dog is going outside for a walk that's exciting, and he might see or sniff other things, because that's quite future orientated and they're very in the moment animals. It's the fact that the two magnetic hearts are connected and going together. That's of so much value to the dog, to link up and do something together coordinately. So it's no wonder they're really in the flow, and this is so normal, you know. And as I was saying before, with the ways that we've been judged for not having them under complete control at all times, that they're not ways that humanity is going to expand and ascend and become abundant to. We need to be moving away from this idea that the dogs aren't able to express themselves emotionally, because by holding on to the idea that the dog isn't expressing himself emotionally, we limit ourselves. And this is what's happened for a very, very long time. There's very few of us, and probably none of you on this call, that still believe and discuss hierarchy, but it served humanity for a very long time to believe in hierarchy, because we wanted to live in this hierarchy. We could only see this hierarchy, this very masculine, this very blame, victim, shame, judgment way of being. But now we know that humanity can have equality, and this is where we're moving forward to, and empowering ourselves to create what we want to see in the world and have equality. And for me, linking this in with your dog, which is the biggest heart per body mass of any animal on the planet, you know, we're so lucky, because anything we want to create magnetically that we send out gets magnified by these amazing beings that we live with. We're one up on people who don't own dogs. And I really do believe, and many of you have heard me say this before, but that dogs are sticking themselves in front of people to support us to create the reality that we want to see for humanity, to expand our heart chakras and really, really move forward, maybe up to 5D, as Charlotte called it. So, hi Lindsay. Hi Catherine, I did mention, Catherine said, would group focus also be part of it? I don't know if you mean the TV side of things, but group focus is exactly what I'm talking about in terms of the dog going out for a walk with you. That's exactly because they love group focus. It's just amazing to them. You know, this is what they live for half the time. Or all the time, really. So, Catherine, yeah, group focus on the TV. Of course, it could be. However, I suspect it would probably carry on when you're not focusing on the TV. So it could be. It could be. Or what your heart coherence starts to do, because we've got to remember our dogs are so way more sensitive. They're so sensitive to heart frequencies, electromagnetic frequencies. You know, dogs are way more sensitive than we think they are. So it could be that something changes. But it is also because she's a sight hound, you know, and this is what's almost been genetically or epigenetically or collective conscious resonance, as Dr. Sheldrake called it, all three things. This is part of her. So it is probably going to happen more because I know it's when she sees animals, isn't it? This is what we're talking about. So Sally is here. Sally, well, I hope still. Numbers are going up and down. Wow, Sally, you've only just joined the group. It's so cool you found it, because I can remember talking to you about canine flow system of behaviour. Oh, about 6 years ago when I used to come to your yoga class. I said you'd love it back then. Okay. I can remember where we were standing outside the Hilton, not the Hilton, what's it called? The Holiday Inn in Cambridge. Brilliant. So Sarah says, no, she's coming back. Michelle says, you're so right, the excitedness to get out and sniff and have a look around. It is that, but that is also quite mind-based. We really have to understand as well about how much the dog values this coherent, the two of you go together focused on something. This is like dream life for dogs, you know. You know, it's not about just getting outside and what they're going to see in the future. It's this going with you, this connect that all dogs want to do really is connect with a human heart. This is like their goal in life, you know, and it's so lovely. And when we feel that they do this, we may not even mentally realize it, but we love it. And this is part of the reason we're attracted to them as well. And we feel proud when we're connecting heart to heart with a dog and we're moving effortlessly along. You know, it's wonderful. And that's the soul spirit side of it coming into it. So we definitely don't want to be limiting, do we? As we need to be honouring this. So Charlotte says, pulling, what is the energy explanation when they are better off the lead? Skippy will walk by my side off lead. Okay, so often, as soon as you put a lead on, you change your proprioceptive feedback. So that's probably why, I would say, that's very likely why. So when you change your proprioceptive feedback, different nervous system signals, they're not going to have connected group focus with you as much. So a little bit like imagining a group of dogs like the African wild dogs, for instance, that we know live in bigger groups, going off for their hunt, but they've all got leads between each other. Instantly you think, oh no, but that wouldn't work because there's no fluidity. Yeah, so we need the dog to have fluidity. And when the dog has fluidity, then they often, and you're finding this is the case, actually connect better with us. And that this is a very big spiritual lesson, connect with I can't even say it, crown chakra, which is about trust. It's about trust. And it's big. And if you are finding that Skippy is showing you this, and this is something you're noticing, this is wonderful because you are integrating more trust in the flow. So you trust that Skippy actually will be next to you in a more coherent manner. But many people would never do that because they wouldn't trust their dog to do it. So good for you, actually. Go off and find fields, everybody, and start trying this. Loads of comments. Okay, so Michelle says he's so happy on a walk. He's quite strong, yes. Well, breed-wise, I can imagine that. I would always be using a harness with a big muscly dog like that. Tracy says, yes, you are absolutely right, spot on. I am taking things too sensitively at the moment, too personally or personally. Two paws and a Lily. Buster is mirroring me. Yeah, try this first, Tracy, because knowing you, this could be the key to it all. Often is the missing link, as I said right from the beginning. It's the missing link in canine behaviour. If we can shift what's going on for us, it's like we see it, we honour it, and the dog's like, oh, I don't need to show it anymore. It's not a mental thing. It's just that they don't feel it from us, coming from our subconscious. They don't feel it from us, so there's no need to act it. It just doesn't influence them. And it's also part of your reality as well. However, what I would do as well, and this is maybe my fear, but I would still be looking physically just in case there's something going on in his joints as well, proprioceptively. He might have some stickiness. He might be holding the energy of your limiting belief, might be festering in his joints, might be there. And just clearing that with some Reiki or some massage or something might just, or just asking it, talking to it as an energy, you know, seeing if you can see what shape or colour it is and asking it to leave. So no more questions yet. Charlotte says, I so trust him. Yeah, it's a big thing though. It's hard sometimes to trust our dogs off lead. It's one of the things that I've learned to do more since I've been here, is have Fusa off the lead. And I know I'm in a place that has less traffic in a sense and less going on in general, but I hardly ever have her on the lead. And she will walk in the road and she will move out the way of stuff. And so will the cat. Cat's a flipping nightmare. Follows us on almost every walk. And I'm like, can you just go home? You know, I want to cross the road now. And the cat's like, okay, I can cross the road. Actually, I don't have to cross the road. Don't be thinking I don't. It's just like amazing. And here, everything's so different. Dogs sit on the end of people's drives and they just watch the world go by. No fences, no shut gates, nothing. And they never go anywhere. And you just see it everywhere like this. So relaxed, but the people are more relaxed. And I remember seeing this in France once, back in the day, because I used to work in a Pyrenean mountain dog kennel, and I loved Pyrenean mountain dogs, obviously, at the time. And so I went off searching for them in the Pyrenees in France. And I remember at the time then, and this was years ago, like maybe 12, 13 years ago, probably longer, and they were all around just doing this. They were just in people's driveways, no thing of wanting to go anywhere, so chilled out, so in the flow, so grounded that they didn't have this excess charge that they wanted to just go and use up in this way. And of course, we wouldn't do this in England because the trust element isn't there, you know, but we're learning it. We're learning the trust element, and this is part of our expansion. Some people do, I'm sure, some people do. Not everybody is exactly the same, but for instance, there's a dog down the bottom of our road, and there's like a grocery, an outdoor grocery market, and the dog just, that's where the dog lives. It's a stray dog, but I presume the people feed it every other day or whatever when they're there, and it just hangs around, and it's always going in between the people, in between the cars. For years it's done this. It's a totally different world when you see this going on. And obviously I'm not intending that we all just have a free-for-all and let our dogs go everywhere, but I hope you get the kind of reason why I'm saying it, that there are other perspectives or perspectives that can be utilised. And when we take these on, it can be really, really beneficial for us to take these on rather than live in the world of fears, in the world of judgments, because they can create stuff going on for us. They can block our flow as well. So a new comment. In fact, I've got a lovely video from Saturday night when I was in town. I'm going to post it, and it's of about, I don't know if there's like, there's 6 dogs, because my friend's little girl says that on the video. And this is a group of dogs that they're mates, they're chums. Oh, some of them are amazing. When you go in the day and they're more in the sun and chilled out and what have you, and they come up to you, they're so lovely. All these dogs are so nice because they're constantly in the flow. They're constantly allowed to ground, you know, and they get food from bins, and I don't know how they get fed, but they're certainly not thin. So they're actually having a nice life as a street dog in Kyrenia. And there's a video of them and they're chasing the traffic. This is what they do. It's just completely crazy, but nothing, like 4 years I've lived here, I've never known a dog on that road to actually have a problem with the cars. And this is what they spend their whole evenings doing, like a group of obnoxious teenagers chasing the cars. So the other thing they do, which is really, really key to helping us understand how dogs pick up on human heart energy flow and human heart emotions, is that they will use the crossing. They will use where the people cross. So that, you know, the beacon type thing like we have in England, and you can cross. And of course, everybody goes across here. And what the dogs do, you see them, they just do the same thing. Even when there's people not walking. So they can sense where that is. They don't mentally know, of course they don't, but they can sense the energy. And I think this is what happens when I take Fusa for these long walks across the mountains. Sometimes I can look back and think, oh, she's not there. But she always finds me, always finds me. And I go in all different places. It's just amazing that they just can sense energy. They are so sensitive to energy. You know, it's no wonder natural remedies work better with them. And all natural remedies are linked in with the life force flow of planet Earth. They're working because of this vital force that is behind. It's a vibrational force. They're vibrational medicine. So Yasmin's joined us. Hello. So I haven't had any more questions. I might just mention then, before we leave, the question I had from Stacey, who's joined the online Canine Flow course. And been on a retreat, actually. Stand corrected, you've been on a retreat now as well. Luna the collie. Now she's doing the heart thing as well, in terms of where's the heart focus, where's the magnetic focus. And like many collies, the ball is that heart energy, is that life force energy, is that magnetic energy. The ball becomes that. So as you're throwing the ball for the dog isn't getting a ball in its mind, it is chasing that life force flow, that part of you. And so it brings it back again. It wants to interact with this life force flow. And as you said, the only way you can stop it is by taking it away. And then you find that some dogs are fretting because they can't connect with this life force flow. So you definitely need to be connecting with her in more of a heart-to-heart way somehow. Okay, so, and also, as we know, she's got stuff going on in her state of being. So in terms of the canine flow structure of the 3-stage flow system, which you learned about on the online course, the state of being section is so key, because if we can shift what's going on state of being wise, chances are she's not going to want to constantly need to ground, constantly need to ground, constantly need to ground. So yeah, so let's look at that as best we can. And I know it's difficult because she's not a dog that likes to be touched, but there are so many ways that you can work with them energetically now without them being touched. I will have a think of some people that I've met in my time that could maybe work distantly with her. You know, everything is made of energy, and we say that all the time. Oh, everything's energy, you know, but if everything's energy, then we can shift energy. Okay, it means canine behavior's energy as well, so it's all linked in. We can make shifts for them. So that's what I would do. So Rachel says, new comment, my dog Jasper, I love that name. Oh, Rachel, hello. Yes, you've sent me pictures of Jasper, haven't you? Won't stop eating cat poo. Trying to stay calm when that happens. So there's two elements there, because there's Rachel's feeling around it, which actually can bring up some really horrible stuff. And also what it's also linked into as well is your own feelings about eating as well. It will be linked in with that. Maybe you're feeling like you need a bit of a detox, a bit of a cleanse as well. So that can be linked in with it. Now, dogs are attracted to energy, and bacteria is full of this stuff. It's a tiny microorganism that's vibrating at a high rate. You know, smell is bacteria, really. So as the bacteria dies off, then the smell starts to die off. So this is why they go for things that are full of bacteria. And this is why they love to scavenge in bacteria areas. They really are dogs that are linked in with this. So I would be on a physical level, on a nutritional level, so top of the triangle, I'd be looking at his adding in something to help his microbiome. Most dogs are aiming to get this because they don't mentally know, but it's a sense of this energy frequency is of use to them. So they start to take this in. Some dogs eat soil because that's got bacteria and microbiome, which has an energy resonance in it. So every time a dog, for instance, is doing aroma flow, we call it aroma flow in canine flow, or essential oils, botanical, the lovely Rachel calls it, botanical self-healing. When they're attracted to something, it's because they sense the energetic frequency of that, the magnetic resonance, the energetic frequency of that, and they can sense all the time whether that's something that will make shifts in them. And it's not a mental knowing, it's a sense of, and it's very in the moment. So dogs will have all sorts of fascinations in different things that have a bacterial load and thus have a vibrational rate to it. And this is the only reason that they're doing it. So if you want to stop it, then you want to be looking at how you're feeling around the whole situation, because there may be something going on there. And secondly, the probiotic, the microbiome side of things as well. So we have another lady actually who's going to be a practitioner at some point. She's done an amazing online course. She's just absolutely loved it, and she may even watch this and comment underneath later. But her dog, and I might get her on actually because her story's amazing, her dog was actually so keen on poo that it would actually run and jump at other dog owners who were holding bags of poo, because obviously that's what we do, isn't it? We bag it up and we take it off somewhere, and we might not find a bin immediately. And this was a big thing for her to deal with. And really, whilst we did go down the whole physical side of things at the beginning to look at that as well, there was things going on for her emotionally, and I won't go there exactly what they were because I'll wait for her to tell you. But yeah, it fixed itself by switching the story, the emotions in her that were surrounding it. So looking at it from the spiritual point of view with her, it fixed itself. And then she emailed me and said, I absolutely know I had a terrible day. I felt so fed up with X, Y, and Z. I had this emotion, I had that emotion, went for a walk, and what did he do? And it was like, whoa, okay, thank you. This is my lesson. I need to shift this in me. And yeah, she used a lot of the canine flow techniques with herself as well with the dog, and yeah, just amazing that could happen. So I'll get her to tell her story at some point. Rachel says, oh my God, never thought of that. Yes, exactly. Well, we don't, do we? Because for so long we think of them as mind-based, mental-based beings, and we utilize that aspect within dog training. And as I was saying at the beginning, we do often think about the physical side of things as well, but it's not until we integrate the life force flow, energetic aspect that we all love anyway, because that's why we're into natural dog care. When we utilize that in behavior, we have so many changes. So yeah. It isn't a big thing. It's becoming more so, which is wonderful. So a few minutes left. Rachel says, raw fed, perfect. Veggies, okay. Probiotics, yes, could do. Try stuff, the physical side of things. It could just be, this is just off the top of my head. I'm just thinking, how can we integrate more microbiome, more bacteria in the meals? This is what you need to be doing. So prebiotics usually better than probiotics, because they feed the good bacteria. They get the body to create its own, what it senses energetically it needs, and thus creates. So prebiotics like chicory and garlic are usually pretty good. But it may just be something that the dog is doing, because they're attracted to this. And sometimes a raw fed dog is worse for that kind of thing, because they're used to having fresh vibrant, energetic food. So then when they see something else that's fresh and vibrant that we have a belief system over is bad for them, they don't, though. They just get it down them. So, Rachel says own eating habits. There you go. It's linked in also with the story of what's going on emotionally for you as well. Fix that. This will probably fix itself. This is kind of what happens, and you think, whoa, like, is this for real? Is this woman for real? But this is what I've found for the last 11 years running these retreats. This is what happens, and it's cool. It's phenomenal. We're ready now. Humanity are ready now to get rid of our subconscious stuff, to look at it, see it, be aware of it, allow it through, and honor life force flow in our dog's behavior rather than limiting it. So the hour's up, everybody. I will just say thank you for listening. Quick update on the stuff that you know I've got going on. We've got wonderful vet coming on to talk, or I've done the interview actually, I'm going to post it next week, on EMFs. So electromagnetic fields like Wi-Fi, things from our phone as well, and you know, 5G and all this. That's going to be posted next week. So I'm hoping it can be like Tuesday, Wednesday, but it might be pushing on to Thursday, Friday. But that's a wonderful interview, very, very interesting, because I do also believe that that's going to influence the dog's life force flow as well. So yeah, that's coming up, and I have finished writing the updated version of my Best Dog Diet book. That's gone off to the lovely lady who's a canine flow practitioner, who is doing the copy editing for it, checking all my spelling. So yeah, that's where I'm at with that, and I'm obviously going to be offering it as a course as well when it's ready. So nutritional therapy course. And in the meantime, it is still November, so I do still have about 4 codes left. So if any of you have been listening today and you would like to learn more about canine flow and how we can utilize this long forgotten way of transforming dog behavior, then let me know. Just PM me, message me and say, oh, I want a code, because you get £88 off the online course. And it's the first step really to becoming a practitioner and just sharing this and to really honouring it in our dogs and taking it forward, because as I said, humanity are ready now. You know, there's meditation classes in almost every city now. So I want us to drop this belief that people are closed-minded to stuff like this, because they're not anymore. Your tribe will not be. Your tribe will not be. So it's about getting out there, taking this out there, and really it's about helping people to truly see their dog, okay? See them energetically and see them emotionally and truly heart to heart connect with them, because for so long we haven't been doing that. We've been in this separation, and for me, this has got to go forward. We've got to take this forward now. We've waited long enough, I think. So yeah, throughout November. And I'll probably do a live on the 23rd on my page, because the 23rd of November on the Spiritual Dog Trainer page is Fibonacci Day, which is so exciting, because we use the Fibonacci, because Fibonacci is like the mathematical equivalent of life force flow. So we use it within canine flow spiral healing work. And yeah, I want to celebrate that. Fibonacci, we're going to call it, with a P-A-W. Anyway, so thank you so much. Jenny says, interesting hour. Charlotte says, thank you. Tracy, thank you for the wisdom. Wonderwooful. Oh, that's so cute. Love it. Catherine says, thank you. Looking forward to the EMF talk. Yeah, me too, definitely. Well, having already heard it and reheard it again, I'm looking forward to sharing it. It's amazing. Okay, thank you so much. And yeah, love you all. Okay, love all your dogs as well. So